welcome to Abiding Life Studios. I'm Noah Wells. Today I have Steve Reinhardt and Shay Wells with me.
Hello. Hi, Steve.
Hey, is it great to be together
Yeah, it's great to be with
Sure
you.
and,
is.
and with all the people that listen to your podcast?
Yes, definitely. And I did want to say something right before the podcast. We did fix the unique self-test. So
Mhm.
if you have taken the test before, sign in because it's all new and it has a lot, I don't know. I think I really enjoy the information you get now.
Yeah, it's a lot more clear, and there were videos, but not everyone. The videos weren't loading for some people, and then
It's just a lot of information
it's a
in the
lot of
videos.
information at once. And so Noah's been really working hard on kind of cleaning it up. So now there's drop down menus of you'll get your result. And then you can see um, how your results are in different categories and their drop down menus. So you can just get little bits of information at a time or
Yeah, like
read it all.
one of them is your relationship with God, how your personality affects that.
Yeah.
For me, that was a huge one. I was like, I really like that because then I read through it and I was like, oh, you feel like God's always distant from you, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I always thought there was something wrong with me, not that's just my personality.
Yeah.
So
You've added that and then also some parenting things too. So if you're a parent or a grandparent or anyone that is around children, it also talks about disciplining the type of temperaments
yeah,
as well. So we've added a little bit more, but also have made it a little bit more clear and user friendly.
hmm
And so you don't have to watch an 8-minute video. You can kind of read through it as you go. So it's
yeah,
really cool. It
yeah.
looks really good.
And if you haven't taken,
Exciting.
yeah, and if you haven't taken the test, it's on abidinglife.com, just right on the top.
Yep,
Unique
unique
self.
self.
Yep. All right, so let me get into this. I've been wanting to do this for a while now, and we finally have the time to do it. I wanted to do something on men's mental health.
Hmm.
And I think what really started it is how much I've kept things to myself and haven't shared them with Shay or other people. And it made me start thinking how many other men are like me.
Hmm.
Probably every man is like me, that we don't share what we're actually struggling with. And so recently what I've been doing. And yes, it was terrifying at first. But recently and let me say this first. I have, of course, dealt with self-harm. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts. I've struggled with depression. Um, I guess you name it, I probably have struggled with it somewhere along the road. And really, and a big one not being enough. Definitely don't belong in ministry. I mean, there's a lot of things. I shouldn't even be a human, really, because I remember when I was a kid and found out with the dyslexia thing, I just thought there was something seriously wrong with me. And I remember telling God, like, why don't you just kill me? I don't understand what you're doing here.
Yeah.
Very glad he didn't.
You've never
But
felt like you've belonged in any setting, in any friend
exactly,
group,
yeah.
in school, in any jobs.
Yes.
It's just kind of been a life of not feeling like you're enough to be where you are and that you don't deserve where you are and that
Yeah.
you don't belong where you are,
Oh yeah,
right?
absolutely. And then you keep it all in.
Hmm.
And what does that do to you? Well, keep it in the dark. It just grows and grows and grows until you end up doing something stupid. But so what I've been doing recently is there's like, I think everyone can relate to this. You have something that comes into your mind. Usually this is late at night for me, early morning, but it's something that I did in the past where I've messed something up. I failed somewhere. I said something stupid. I did the prayer wrong.
Hmm.
All these things. I have a long list of things. I bought the wrong car. I have all these things that I've done wrong. And they come into me and the feeling kind of comes over my whole body of like, you messed up. It's like this weird fear. I don't know if it's like full fear. I don't know what else it would be, but I guess probably just fear. So it comes over my whole body, and usually I try to do something else. I usually uh, pick up my phone or try to get a distraction, call somebody, start thinking about someone else, or
Hmm.
I run from that fear. So recently, I was like, I wonder if if I just sat in that fear, what would happen? So I thought, okay, so the last time it happened, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, it came in and the fear and the like, you messed up, you're an idiot, there's something wrong with you. All these thoughts were coming in. And I just said, okay, God, come with me. I'm going to sit in this.
Mhm.
And I just want to see if I can sit in this disgusting feeling without running from it. And what I quickly realized that I sat in it, sat in it, sat in it, and all of a sudden, phew, it was a relief.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So my brain is always telling me to run from it when really it's not that scary. I keep telling myself it's so scary. You got to run. No, you got to run from this because we can't handle this. So you got to run. But then when I'm sitting in it, you realize pretty quick you can handle it. And it's actually pretty, I don't know, what do you call it? Like lately, I've been really proud of myself.
Mhm.
And I've never have said that before. And, it's kind of crazy to go, oh, wow, I can do this. I can actually sit through this thing and let it pass and then realize I made through it and it's not scary at the other end. It's actually a lot of freedom. So then, so say that happened in 3 weeks ago. I know it happened. It popped in the same idea, popped into my mind. And I started feeling that fear. And I said to myself, no, we already did that. We already sat through that. We already went through that. I don't need to go through that again. And you can if you want. But for me, I'm just like, no, I already dealt with that. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Mhm.
And really, it left.
Mhm.
That feeling. And so I don't know, I'm starting to do that more and more with everything. Like self-harm. I'm going to sit in that for a minute instead of just trying to run from it or really plan it out, right?
Mhm.
How many times have I sat in my by myself planning out how I'm going to do something to myself?
Mhm.
Well, how about I just sit in it and see why I'm feeling that way? Or I guess for me, not be afraid of the feeling
Mhm.
or even the thought. So I don't know what you guys think of that. And I don't know. Do you have any questions or opinions?
I have many questions, but
Okay.
Steve, do you want to go first?
And I always have many opinions.
Perfect.
But I'll start with the question instead. So, like, why did you decide to sit with it, like after like decades of running from it? What's flipped the switch and to the point where you would even think that?
I think for me, the part that switched it would be recently God allowed like a lot of trauma to leave me.
Mhm.
A big feeling of I don't know, it was just a lot of trauma that got to leave. And after that trauma left, I instantly had a thought that I was enough.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I have never once, ever, ever in my entire life have felt that. And it was like, whoa, at this moment, I feel 100% enough. And that was such a strange feeling for me. So I think that kind of gave me the confidence, I guess,
Or the
or
courage
the
to sit in
courage,
it.
I guess, to go, okay, so if I'm enough, can I just sit in misery? Well,
Mhm.
yeah, of course I can because I'm enough, so why not? And that's what I've been living my life now for a while. I think the thing that God did for me was a few months ago. But so now it's just like anytime, like we were at volleyball and there was no chairs around, and but I saw a chair far away and I was like, I better not go get it because what if someone else needs it? What if this, I go in this whole cycle in my head. And then all of a sudden I said, okay, if you were enough, would you go get that chair so your feet would stop hurting?
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I would. So then I just went over and grabbed the chair, put it down, sat down. I was like, oh, so happy I did that. So it's like little things like that, right?
Mhm.
Where I can drive myself mad because for so many years I didn't think I was worthy or enough to take care of myself or to love
Mhm.
myself
Hmm.
or be proud of myself.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So I think that definitely has helped me go, okay, I have this thought or I have this feeling. for someone who's enough, can they just sit in misery for a minute and see what that's like? Well, yeah, okay, I can do that.
Mm.
So that, yeah, that's what's really helped me is just realizing that I am enough.
And when you say that, what do you mean when you say like I'm enough?
For me, enough would be there's probably different sections of it. Definitely one would be I'm enough for God.
Mm.
Like God made me perfect how I'm made. So like all my problems, all my failures, all my, the dyslexia thing has stuck by me for a long time of like there's something wrong with me.
Mm.
Because I have problems with like seeing words. Sometimes I'll read someone's text and I write them back and they're like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "What?" And then I go back and read it. I'm like, "Where did I didn't even read it right the first time." You're just like, "What is going on here?" So,
By
like,
the way, I don't think you have to have dyslexia to do that. I hope
okay, good.
probably millions of us do then.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm normal on that.
FYI, I'm sure lots of people listening to this would go, "Oh, I do that,"
Yeah, I do that. What are you talking about? Yeah.
or my sister does that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the funny thing is like since I've added stupid to dyslexia, I hold myself at a different level than than someone who's not dyslexic. So, like you saying, Steve, other people do that. Yeah, I'm sure there is, but then they don't beat themselves up like I do.
Mhm.
Like I'll beat myself up and go, "You idiot! You couldn't just slow it down. You couldn't, if you could read better, you'd be able to do it right away and be like the normal people." But yet again, you don't talk out loud about a lot of this stuff, so you don't know
Yeah,
other people do it.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so being enough, I think, is definitely accepting exactly who I am
Hmm.
and loving that. So like loving all the faults of myself. And that's I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing to do. But once you do it, it's very peaceful in the old mind.
Hmm.
I was telling Shay the other day, I said, I was sitting there thinking about something, and all of a sudden I realized it was just me there thinking. It wasn't all this other junk in my mind coming in real quick and give me other idea. I just usually I'm like a tornado in my mind. And recently it's just been me thinking about things. So it's been so peaceful for me. And I
Oh,
think
beautiful.
and that's helped me too is just be enough. So I don't know if I really answered the question. I guess it's just me being enough is me fully accepting myself.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
And one,
And you and feel and sounds like you fully accepting how God made you.
yes,
And
exactly.
you're like you emotionally, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and really kind of always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that makes sense to me. So and so you really are because God made you that way, then you really are enough for
Yeah,
God.
I am
I
enough.
mean, if you, I guess if you weren't, He would have made you a different way.
Yeah, and you know how much time I've wasted like yelling at him about how he made me and he'd messed up or he just, he must have like looked away real quick when he decided to have me come into the world. And it's so nice to just say thank you now in the morning. Like this morning, I was looking in the mirror, brushing my teeth, and I was just almost started crying because I was just so happy to be here.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, this just feels good to be here. And man, that's been a lot of my years have not been like that. A lot of the years I look in the mirror and go, oh, I wish we would just die. God, would you just kill us already? It's just
Hmm.
those kind of feelings. So it was so beautiful to look at myself and go, oh, I'm so happy.
So if I'm just thinking about well, me and other people that or might be listening to us and thinking, oh, that's what I want. That's
Yeah.
what I need. Like I've been beating myself up for years, and I don't. We could always find something to not like about ourselves if we look very deep, or we could just listen to somebody else who will tell us
Yeah.
what they don't like about us.
Yeah.
Uh, and although those people are pretty rare because people usually just talk to each other, not you.
Yeah,
So you don't
that's
find
very
out
true.
until later.
Yeah, that's very
Anyway,
true.
but so there's always something. So if somebody was watching this and thinking the same thing, though, like for years they've been beating up on themselves or was thinking God's made a mistake or that God's, like he looked away when he was making me and made a mistake, like
Yeah.
hit the
Yeah, hit the
wrong
wrong
button.
button. Yeah.
And I turned out like defective and not enough. What would you, how would, like, how did, and there you may not have a good answer. I don't know. I'm just thinking of somebody asking is like, well, God did that for Noah.
Hmm.
When's he going to do it for me? Or how's he going to do it for me? Or what's my part in the whole experience of that? Because I think we would all like to have that.
Yeah.
I think most of us would want that experience of waking up in the morning, looking in the mirror and going, oh, awesome. God made me
Yeah, exactly.
and
I
I
agree.
like me just like I am.
Yeah. No, and yeah, and I think to answer that, I mean, I wish like after it happened, I was asking God, please tell me the formula to help other people get to this point and hear nothing. So it's like, okay, so it is just straight from God how it happened. So it is the journey. And in
Mm,
that journey though, like, we've done podcasts on this, Steve, before where can you start talking back to your lies? Can you start looking in the mirror and not running from the mirror, but actually saying, I love you? We did a podcast a long time ago where it took me months and months and months to actually even come up with I love, and then I couldn't say you.
mhm,
So I think the journey of changing, I guess, my idea of myself and um, yeah, like truly loving yourself is taking those steps to move forward in that direction of saying, okay, I'm now going to try this. And yes, it's scary. I get sick to my stomach, but I'm still going to do it. And I'm going to do it every day. Every time I see myself in a reflection, mirror, anything, I'm going to do it and try to get to that point. And I honestly just think God puts those ideas in our minds and
mhm.
or in other people's minds, and then they tell you, and you're like, oh, that kind of resonates with you, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go with that. And same with like you, Steve. I've told people this a couple times where you said you would put a towel over your shoulders and then you'd wrap it around really, really tight and say, I love you. I mean, that there is very special. But it's very hard to do for a lot of us. So I think just doing the little parts like that of starting that to figure out that you are enough, even though back then I didn't think I was enough, but I was still trying to get to the point that I love you. And then, I mean, I finally was able to say I loved you probably 3 years ago, and now this has happened.
Mm,
So it's not like a quick fix. But the journey is so worth it, I guess I'd have to say, because I've learned so much in the journey. Then to get to this point to say, oh, now I'm enough. I think if it happened really quick for me, it probably wouldn't be as special.
mhm.
But now I've seen the contrast of not being enough for so many years of my life. So I'm 45 now, so as long as I can somewhat remember, I didn't think I was enough. So
Yeah.
I've had a huge many years of contrast to now. And it's like, oh, I don't want to go back to that spot. So I'm daily reminding myself, yet again, talking back to the lies that I hear every day, that no, I am enough. And I truly believe that. So I guess to answer that, it's probably just the journey that gets you to that point. And then
Yeah,
God
I
will.
like that answer because it's like you didn't say, oh yeah, like this happened and now everything's perfect, peachy and like I'm
No,
never
yeah,
having
no,
thoughts anymore and
yeah.
that I don't ever feel fear.
Hmm.
But that you said there's a lot of steps, just like walking down a road, like it's like not one step, it's like thousands of steps.
Yeah.
And you've walked that way with God all along. and this is where you are right now.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
you're now you're when you have the feeling of fear, you can go, oh, and I already did that, like
Yeah, we already dealt with that.
nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah,
Like,
there's nothing to be afraid of. Yeah.
yeah, I've already like sat with that fear and it being enough, and it's like maybe like a bubble that popped, and
Yeah.
and it's gone. And so I like that. Anyway, thanks for sharing that and sharing your journey through a lot of suffering. Um, and I kind of think I was reading something last night, and it said kind of like God's in the one of his job description is to take the suffering out of pain.
Mm,
And I like that because like we all go through different things. We all mess up our techs. We all get sick or have disease or go
yeah.
through things. And I like the idea that maybe that's his taking the suffering out of pain, of the painful things of our life.
Mm,
It's kind
mhm.
of what you've done and gone through and where you're at now. Like you could still feel fear,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it doesn't own you
No.
because you're enough.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't own me like it used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, 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 if you could sit with it.
Yeah.
So that's
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But it is crazy how much your mind tells you you got to run. And,
Yeah, and that you can't handle it too.
no, you can't handle it. So you got to go.
So, I thought when you were saying these things, like this is we might get a little pushback from some of our Christian friends who would say, well, wait a minute, like you can't be enough. That's Jesus's job.
Uh,
Or you can't, you can't handle it. God needs to handle it. What would you think about that if somebody were to say that to you? How might you
I,
reply?
I, I think I could answer it pretty simple. I mean, it's simple in my mind, but I don't know if this will be simple. God is in the center of my life. So he always is before me, with me, everything that I do, he's in. So I don't know. It'd be hard for me yeah, I understand that God helps us all along. He's in everything, but he also wants me to move forward in things. He also wants me to go, hey, I'm going to take these couple steps and see what you do with it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Are you saying that like you and God are so closely united that like in a sense that this might sound goofy, but there's like no difference that you're gonna that if you say if I'm saying to myself, we can't handle it, I can't handle it, we can't handle this fear, then I'm kind of saying, wait a minute, like God's really not like it's kind of fiction, like
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
like it's just a feeling. It's my body just having a feeling of like,
Yeah.
but you already walked with God in it, and you can do it. You can handle it
Yeah,
you're you, and you're united with Him, right?
yeah, you're united with him and that he never leaves you. So even if I forget, even if I forget to ask him to come along with me, he's still coming along with me.
Yeah,
You know, I think it's just for me to go, okay, oh, I acknowledge you, God, right here in this moment.
yeah,
But he's there all the time. He's the center of my life. So
yeah.
anything that happens, he's a part of.
And I
Even if
Okay.
it's bad, even if it's bad that people see it as bad, it's not bad
Mm,
because he's in it. That's how I
yeah,
see life, though.
I think a lot of people have a lot of fear of saying you're enough or I'm enough
Mm-hmm.
because then they worry that it's some like sort of self-praise, egotistical thing.
Mm.
But if you've never struggled with it, you don't understand it. And that's okay because we all have different struggles. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to understand it. But when you are somebody who has struggled with never feeling like you belong, not feeling like you deserve anything, not feeling like you're worthy of even living,
Hmm.
it does affect your relationship with God. And so to finally sit with the fact that you are enough actually frees you to really feel like you're one with God,
Hmm.
where it's not this egotistical, I'm enough, so I'm amazing, and it feeds this
Ego.
yeah, this ego of, pride that you have for how amazing you are. Instead, it's a release that you're not enough. So now you can just be who God made you.
Hmm.
Because I think a lot of Christians specifically have this issue with like positive self-talk and you having
Mm.
confidence and loving yourself. There's this like fear that you can't love yourself because you just have to love Jesus. And it's like, if
Hmm.
I hate myself, I can't love Jesus.
Hmm.
I don't rely on God because I don't feel like I'm enough for Him to love me.
Hmm.
There is a need to believe that you are deserving of what God has given you. And
Hmm.
when you're in this self-loathing place that you were for so
Oh
long,
yeah, I've been there.
then you feel like God has you under this magnifying glass and you don't even get to fully surrender to what God has for you because there's this self-loathing that's almost like this brick wall between you and God. So
Hmm.
I think that a lot of Christians fear this idea of loving yourself because they see it as like this new age egotistical pride piece when really you just probably haven't struggled with that before, and that's okay. But if you have struggled with it, you know exactly what we're talking about, that it's really hard to fully surrender yourself to God when you don't believe that He loves you, that you're enough, that you're enough.
Well, yeah, just to your point, real quick, at least for me, is when I didn't think I was enough, and really I never thought about that being a problem. It's not like I was praying, God, please help me be enough.
Yeah.
He put that in my mind and heart when he released that trauma, was like, you are enough now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my goodness, you're right. I am enough. What is going on here? Or maybe I've always been enough, but that trauma was just
The
putting that brick
realization.
wall up, you know. But for me, not like when I look back at myself 4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
I really do feel sorry for that person. I've seen pictures of that person and I just start bawling because I see the pain in that person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh man, I am so happy where I am now. Thank you, God, for that.
Mm-hmm.
But just to your point is when I was in the dumps of all that and not feeling enough and not thinking God really cares about me, I never saw blessings.
Mm-hmm.
I never acknowledged a blessing that he gave me. I
Mm-hmm.
would only acknowledge when something went wrong, and then I would say, oh, I deserve that
Mm-hmm.
because I have sinned. I
Right.
have done wrong.
Right. You're
So, yeah,
undeserving.
like a flat tire, normal people would say, oh, flat tire, that sucks. I'll just fix it up now, But me, I would look at that and go, oh, okay, God did that because
He's punishing
he's
you.
punishing me. So I saw punishment way more than I saw blessings. I don't know if I ever saw blessings, honestly,
Mhm.
because I was just blinded by there's something wrong with me.
Yeah,
Mm.
So I don't know if that clears that up.
it does.
I'm chuckling because the how different you feel and how different you come across, and
Yeah.
that idea that there's something wrong with you is seems like a different person,
Hmm.
Yeah.
honestly. So that's thrilling for me and a huge joy for me to see you like you, like
Yeah.
see the real guy.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
guy that was supposed to be, but I built up so many bricks to not be me
Hmm.
Yeah,
anymore.
it's actually like talking to a different person for
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Oh,
me, I'm like I'm kind of meeting you for the first time. It's really
yeah.
neat.
Yeah. Well, do you like this new one?
I
No.
love you. Yeah, yeah,
Phew.
yeah, yeah. It's yeah, because I'm getting to because you're not thinking about my chair, like, and am I gonna feel bad if you sit in my chair and your feet feel bad? It's like that guy's like we're talking to somebody different than that, who is enough, and
Yeah.
like ought to sit down and ought to have their feet feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I deserve to have
Why
my
not?
feet feel good.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Why not?
So anyway, it's thrilling for me. So thanks for sharing that and for answering that question.
Yeah. Shay, do you got any questions?
I
Yeah,
have
I was wondering for Shay, like,
I
what's
have
it
a
Yeah.
like to,
handful of questions that we can kind of rapid fire
Okay.
between the two of you since we are talking about men's mental health. Um, why, as a woman, I just have questions. So, why do men feel like they need to stay silent? Because us women, I mean, we get together, and although we may not say everything, we're pretty honest about the struggles of motherhood and the struggles of being a wife. And a lot of people bash their husbands, which drives me nuts. But women get together, and it's like, there's no secrets. Why do men feel the need to stay silent and struggle alone?
My answer would be to not be a bother.
Do you think it makes men look weak? Do you think that there's a fear
Oh,
of
absolutely.
looking weak, and
Oh, yeah,
so
absolutely.
you stay, men suffer in silence? Because I know that I've heard many, I'm not a boy mom, I only have daughters, but I've heard many parents tell their son, like, be a man, don't cry, don't
Hmm.
show emotion, don't, like, do you think that that's a lot of I don't want to blame childhood, but do you think that that's the message that a lot of boys hear? And then as a man, you kind of hear this, don't be weak, hide things, be a man, step up kind of message?
I would think so. I would guess probably it's probably not as, I don't know, maybe my age. And I don't know. I don't know. I guess your brothers had the same thing though too, right? Don't
Yeah.
cry. Because I know for a long time, whenever I would cry, I would hear a voice in my head going, don't do that.
Yeah, shame behind
Yeah, men
emotions.
don't cry, don't do that. And man, I had to really fight that voice pretty hard. I don't hear it anymore, but man, it would make me feel guilty pretty quick if I was crying. And I
Mm-hmm.
would suck it up real quick to not do that. So Steve, what do you think?
well, I think probably every guy's different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to really generalize for all men, but I think for me, um, not to be a bother, maybe is makes sense, but maybe not also to not burden the people
Mm-hmm.
around me with my emotions might
Mm-hmm.
be, and also like if I'm afraid to face my own fear and sit with my own fear, it's going to be really hard for me to go tell other people, or especially say my wife or close people to me, how afraid I'm feeling. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, uh, so I'm thinking, because I'm probably afraid of my own emotions
Mm-hmm.
and not, and I'm afraid of feeling depressed. I'm afraid of feeling anxious. I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid of feeling fearful, afraid of feeling anger. That I'm not probably going to want to share those actually with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me gonna, which will bring up another really powerful feeling, which would be loneliness,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not able to actually share with other people, and so I would feel lonely too, and
Mm-hmm.
then I probably wouldn't tell you that. And so, well, I think maybe part of the journey for us Christian men is to start learning to share how we feel, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and and I think men, like Shay, you said, like women get together and share how they feel
Yeah.
and complain about their husbands.
Yeah.
And men actually do the same thing.
Yeah.
We get together and we complain about our wives, or we complain about how stupid we are, or tell stories about dumb things we've done. And in some ways, I think in the Christian circles that I hang out with, when the men get together, we share our struggles, maybe to the best of our ability, and to the extent we understand them. We don't always know what the cause is, and we'll I I think sometimes come away feeling hopeless too.
Mm-hmm.
That after we've shared our struggles and everybody else shares their struggles, and it's like, like crap, we're all kind of stuck.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think those are just some ideas that pop to my mind, is let us guys get together
Mm-hmm.
and and maybe we actually share a few things, but maybe not exactly how we're feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those deep down
Yeah, the
things.
deep dark ones, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like I have some friends that are really, suffered for decades
Mm-hmm.
as caregivers of people that are really sick, um, and it's hard to watch people suffer. It's
Yeah,
Yeah.
really
it is
hard.
hard to watch people suffer.
So and and so I think they maybe may not tell us exactly what's going on with them to protect us
Hmm.
from that same hopeless feeling that they may be walking with every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out loud here,
I
Shay.
know. I agree.
So then my next question would be, how do I, as a wife, become start becoming a safe person? Because I know a lot of men don't tell their wives how they feel or things that they're going through. As a wife, how would I start becoming like that safe person? And I know it's not a one size fits all, and I know everyone has different
Mm-hmm.
situations, and you have different temperaments, and you have different marriages, and you have,
Upbringings,
yeah,
yeah.
different upbringings. And so I know that this is kind of a multi-layered, multi-leveled question, but is there, for the wives listening, and I have an idea on this too, but I want to hear from you guys, of is there like one first step that would help men start feeling safe with their wives specifically to start the conversation of, hey, I'm struggling.
Oh, I've got a good answer for that. And Barb's done this with me for a long time. And she will ask me, well, how are you feeling?
Mhm.
Mm.
And so it just sometimes it's a little aggravating
Yeah.
because I may not know, or I may not actually want to tell her.
Mm.
Uh, so if I'm feeling frustrated or I'm feeling disappointed, but I think if if she asks me that, and then no matter how I respond, she's interested in how I'm feeling,
Mm.
not
Mm-hmm.
judging how I'm feeling. She's not judging me, or she's not trying to fix me. Right?
Yeah.
So those are all things that would make me want to keep my distance. Is if you judge me. If I tell you how I'm feeling and you go, well, you shouldn't be feeling depressed, like you're a Christian, like what's wrong with you?
Yeah, right.
That's not going to make me feel safe.
Mm-mm.
If she accepts that or if I say, well, I'm feeling kind of disappointed, and then she goes, well, think on it this way and tries to cheer me up.
Hmm.
Mm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to feel safe to me. But if she just listens to me and maybe holds me, or
Mm-hmm.
tells me that, yeah, it really sucks to feel depressed,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
then I would feel a lot more safe.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think for us guys, we have to do what Noah did and does with fear, because there's a little bit of fear when I
Mm-hmm.
share my feelings with Barb,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't actually know how she's going to react.
No.
Hmm.
I don't know how she'll respond. I don't know if she's how she's feeling actually. But so if I share my feelings, there's a little part of me that's saying like, man, don't do that. You know,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
she
absolutely.
could blow up and rip your head off,
Mm-hmm.
or she might try and cheer you up when you really don't want to be cheered up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of a thing that us guys can do, and women too, when they feel that same way.
Hmm.
Face our fears and just go sit with our fears and say, you know what, I'm afraid to. I could even tell Barb that, well, like, I'm a little bit afraid to tell you this. I was standing in a line at Home Depot and was thinking, I'm not happily married. I could see it. I've done that actually, so I
Right.
know that's. And Barb goes, oh yeah, I'm having the same thought.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's for me feels safe that I could tell Barb that. Um, I don't know. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Noah and I have had those conversations many times if we've gotten in a good practice of, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but I just need to talk about it. I don't want you to fix it. I don't want a solution, especially when I'm having an issue as a man. He wants to fix it. He wants to make it right
Hmm.
and to say, I'm going to tell you something, but I just need to tell you. I don't want you to try to fix it, because as a spouse, you want your partner to not feel depressed, and you want to help them feel good, and you want to make a solution for why you're both feeling like your marriage sucks. Because there are times that we all get into those, or I feel like you hate me and you feel like I hate you.
Hmm.
It's like that's not true. But to kind of put that on the table of like, I need to talk to you. I'm gonna tell you these things, but like just I need to sit in that, and that's okay. And to
Mhm.
kind of have that be open. I know a lot of times, before I was a safe person for Noah, and even sometimes now, especially when it's about like a big purchase,
Hmm.
he will write it down and he'll either text it to me or he'll leave me a note, and he'll say, "Hey, I left you a note. Will you just think about it for 24
However long
hours
you need.
or
Yeah.
whatever, and then we can talk about it." Because especially when it comes to like budgeting and things, if it's a big purchase, I'm instantly a no. Nope, we're not doing it. And so, which then makes him feel rejected, and then that can spiral into him feeling isolated and lonely, and I'm not safe. And so it can kind of become this domino effect. But I know for Noah a lot, it's helped him to just write things down, because although it's still scary, it just kind of helps you get things out a little bit easier.
Hmm. And I don't have to see your
And you
face.
don't have to see my face or hear a reaction
If
or
you do a little
anything.
face like that or something, that is gonna tell me that you're not trustworthy, right?
Right. And so I
So if
know
a
like
wife does
that.
that to a husband, even if they don't say anything and their face shows it,
Yeah.
trust me, men are watching all of that, all those pieces to
Yeah.
see. Because I think the bottom line is we don't want to be rejected,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
or
I don't think we want to hurt each other either.
and we don't want to
Yeah.
hurt
We
each
don't want to
other.
hurt each other.
Exactly. I don't want to hurt her when I tell her I'm depressed, because she might think it's because of her.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say, just as a woman and as a wife, I do feel like it is not talked enough about how much you men carry. I know a lot of times, it's like, oh, well, you just have to go to work, and you just go to work and you make money, but I'm here taking care of the kids and taking their house, and everyone there,
Hmm.
that's the narrative. But really, men carry so much in silence, and that's why I think we really wanted to talk about this on a podcast, because men carry so much pressure of providing, and not just providing financially, but providing emotionally. And you guys do take a lot of responsibility on in your marriages and parenting and making sure the house is taken care of. And then you have home projects and cars that fall apart. And there is a lot that men do carry. And I just want to recognize as a woman that I see how much men have going on in your heads that you suffer in silence and have suffered in silence, and then that leads to isolation. And I'm just really glad that we have taken the time to talk about this on a podcast, because I do think there's a lot that men struggle with, but you struggle in silence a lot of the times.
Hmm.
And so I'm really happy that we're able to talk about this. And I just have one last question.
Okay.
That being said, men struggle, I mean, people struggle with all different kinds of things, and they stem from all sorts of baggage and circumstances and messages and things like that. But do you feel as if all temperaments, your thinker, doer, feeler, do we feel like all men struggle, or is this kind of pointed towards the feelers that are feeling things, or the thinkers that are overthinking things? Do you think
And the
Well,
doers that are overdoing things.
they're
yeah,
overdoing
and they're
things?
overdoing things. Yeah.
So are there common, I'm just thinking, if a doer is listening to this podcast and he's going, well, I don't feel that way about myself, because I never had to think about whether I was enough or not, because I'm a doer. I never think about that. That's just a feeling that feelers have. Or I'm just thinking if
Hmm.
a doer were listening to this or a high thinker that's sitting there overthinking everything, is this what would you say to like the temperaments, I guess?
Well, Steve is a doer, so, and I know he has thoughts and struggles with things. So I mean, I think to your point, I think it's just different for everybody, right? I think even some feelers probably don't have the same thoughts I do,
Hmm.
just from their upbringing and stuff. I mean, just watching Ainsley, our youngest, she's a high feeler. And, we've done things a lot different. We've really what do you call it? Integrated
Yeah.
communication in
Hmm.
our I guess our relationship with the girls.
Hmm.
And you see her do things and it's like, man, she does way different than I would do it.
Yeah.
She knows how to go to things and handle things way different than I can. And I'm
Yeah.
45 years old. I still can't, I'm still trying to figure it out. So I don't know. What do you think, Steve? Do you think
I,
it's
you know,
special to the
I,
person?
no, I think we're all people.
Yeah.
It's kind of like for me, we all have different bodies and we all feel things differently and we're all unique. I mean, the unique self-test is like shows us that like we really are unique.
Hmm.
And so, but we all breathe air.
Hmm.
We all need to eat.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all poop. We
Yep.
all we all have these human things that go on inside us, and I think feelings are a part of that. And
Hmm.
sometimes I was telling one friend of mine, like he was talking about feeling, and he was in a feeling a lot of pain. Well, I can turn pain off.
Hmm.
I actually know how to do that with my mind. I can turn it off and not feel it. And like I was telling him, he couldn't sleep because of his pain. I was like, and he was talking. I think he called it. He had some kind of psychological term for it, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, I said, "Oh, that sounds awesome. Like create distance for yourself." And he goes like, "No, that's bad. You're not supposed to be doing that." And it's like, "Oh, okay. Okay." So I think we all have similar feelings, like I've never, uh, I don't know. The people that I know that I would think of as doers, uh, they're doers, but they also would like to impress people.
Hmm.
They'd like to, they were like kind of have, we've kind of got a need to impress or to do something big. I like big thing, like I made a 50-foot flamingo. It wasn't a little flamingo, it was a big flamingo, and I like that. And so I think that we all have the same kind of motives and hearts, and we
Hmm.
don't want to hurt people. We want to be accepted. And I think that for us as guys, I just spoke with somebody this past week, and out of all the problems of being married for decades, this man wants to be loved and accepted by his wife more
Hmm.
than anything,
Yeah.
and so I think that's, for me, the idea that Noah mentioned at the start, that we would come and make it to a place where we feel like we're enough. I think that's super important. And,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and, then, and then we can actually love one another. And
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
we can accept one another and
Hmm.
not have to be trying to earn it or work for it or deserve it. But just if I'm enough, um, like what what can't I handle? What
Hmm.
what can't I walk?
Hmm.
How can I not love somebody?
Yeah. Right.
Is kind of just what I'm thinking. So that was a kind of a long-winded answer, Shay. Probably I skirted the answer, but probably we all handle it differently.
Yeah.
But I think we all have the same needs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I think that's perfect. And I will say that with this shift in Noah, not only has he been able to love more, but also receive it. And
Hmm.
that was something he had never been able to really do, was also receive love
Hmm.
in a way of like, wait, I'm enough to not only, like you were saying, with the blessings. And
Hmm.
as a wife, it's been really nice to have love received after so long of like,
Hmm.
oh, you've let me in that way. So anyway,
Yeah, and isn't that kind of what our life as Christians is about, to grow in love? I think Terry Craft told me one time, we were saying, oh, I've been learning to love and how to be loved.
Hmm.
yeah,
Uh, that it's a lot of, like, really a lot of our Christian life is that, oh, I can be loved and I can love.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, it used to make me super uncomfortable when people would love on me because I couldn't understand it.
yeah.
Or give me a compliment. It made me, I don't know, I just got really, oh, like that's not right. You shouldn't be giving me compliments.
Yeah, you couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
were
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly. I can't believe them. So
Yeah,
what are you seeing? You guys aren't obviously not seeing the true me, it's kind of
yeah,
like that. It's like,
yeah,
oh. But now if
yeah,
someone gives me a compliment, I'm like, oh, thank you. It's like, and then you just move on.
yeah,
You don't think anything of it. And
that's
I
good.
will say the suicidal thoughts have like almost completely gone away. It's pretty
mhm,
crazy.
yeah,
I mean, there's just so much attached to, I guess, not being enough
yeah,
that I've been noticing.
Hmm.
So it's been really, I don't know, it's just been really restful for
yeah,
me for the first time.
yeah.
So yeah,
Really
Well, thank
nice.
you for sharing, you guys. We
yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks for recognizing all the guys do. I know oftentimes, I think you're the first woman I've heard say that, honestly. And that was nice. It was nice to hear. And I was thinking, oh man, you're going to get a lot of crap from the women listeners.
That's all
But so I'll acknowledge them as, like, I recognize that all the women keep the world going and keep us
Hmm.
right.
uh,
Yeah,
operating, and all you do behind the scenes. We wouldn't be alive without you.
absolutely.
I'm feeling grateful for each of the women that are in my life. I'm really grateful.
Hmm. Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
all do a lot to keep our relationships going and world spinning. So,
Yeah.
We really do, and they're anyway. Men's mental health, it fluctuates, just
Yep.
like our physical health. Sometimes I think we're more healthy than others, and it
Hmm.
is definitely a journey. And but I think it's something that for us as believers is an important part of our lives, that we can focus on our spiritual, mental, emotional,
mm,
physical health, and take care of God's creation, which is us.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And God's in all of it.
Yeah,
Just every step.
Yeah. He's with you through the whole thing of it. So pretty amazing what we
Yeah.
have. All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Shay, for your input, your
Thank you.
opinions. That was great.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you guys.
yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Noah, for sharing you with us, and Shay for sharing you with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to the listeners for always being so loyal and commenting, and it really does help us stay afloat mentally.
Mentally, yes,
It's
it
very
does.
encouraging when you guys leave us little comments and notes and things like that.
Yeah.
It's very encouraging. So thank you for listening and
Yeah.
for being here with us. It makes it really fun.
Absolutely. All right.
All
Till the
right.
next one.
Love you guys.
All right. Love you. Bye.